Brian Vicente here, partner with Vicente Sederberg. This is the second installment of our quick video updates that we're providing for retained clients. So we're always open to feedback if people want to see more written updates or whatnot, but we think this is kind of a fun way to get some news out there. I wanted to start with a really exciting development, and that is that Illinois, the state of Illinois, has passed a medical marijuana law, becoming really the 19th state. It's passed through the Senate, it's passed through the House of Representatives, but the governor has yet to sign it. So it's not, a law yet, but we believe the governor will sign. We'll actually know in about 90 days, or he has 90 days to sign it. So hopefully he'll sign it sooner than then. This is a state of about 10 million people. I think it'll be, it's in the Midwest. This is a really landmark state to bring on board. The law itself will allow for about 60 dispensaries to start with. There are other portions of the law I'm not a giant fan of. It's a little restrictive in terms of patient access. The conditions that they list are not wonderful, but it's a workable law. So I think for folks thinking about business opportunities in other states, please give us a call. If you're interested in Illinois, we may actually be heading up there to do a seminar, participate in some talks in the next month or so. So very exciting stuff. Other issues I wanted to talk about, I wanted to just rehash some of the timeline here in Colorado. The really important date that's looming here is July 1. That's when the Department of Revenue has to issue their new rules governing these Amendment 64 businesses. Again, that's your retail stores, retail marijuana stores, your infused product manufacturers, your cultivation facilities, and also your labs. So this is all for the recreational stuff that our voters recently passed. What the DOR is going to do, that's the Department of Revenue, is engage in emergency rulemaking between now and July 1. We are going to be attempting to really influence some of these rules. There's some stuff that we'd like to see done the right way. We're probably going to be creating like a top 10 wish list for the DOR to consider. If you'd like to weigh in on that, please let us know. We may actually send out a draft to our retained clients. We want to make sure that the DOR is hearing from the smartest people in the industry, which is you guys. Other dates, obviously this October 1 date is when you need to make the business decision whether you want to go ahead and opt into this new system. Of course, you could opt in later, but it'd be good if you want to move to do so by October 1. There are some interesting issues related to inventory transfer and how you apply can affect that. So be sure that you talk that through with one of our attorneys before you take action there. I did want to bring up the possibility for folks to think about getting involved in a laboratory. Now, because of the new laws that passed the legislature, a lot of testing is going to become mandatory fairly soon unless they walk that back. Now, folks with a financial interest in a dispensary can't have their own lab. That would be sort of a violation of the law. But it could be that your other people you work with might want to get involved. I just think there's a lot of opportunity because this lab testing is becoming more mandatory and it's going to become more mainstream. So it might be worth thinking about something to get involved in. Setting aside the timeline, I wanted to talk for a second about the hemp bill which passed the legislature. This makes Colorado the first state in about 60 years to allow for the hemp production. The hemp bill and the marijuana bills are going to be signed on May 28th, we believe. They've sort of circulated that date. That will be open to the public, so if you want to come down and see the first marijuana laws really in history being signed into law by the governor, please check that out. Hemp will be signed that day too. So I think Christian and probably myself will be there and would love to chat with you. The hemp piece is very exciting. This is about a $500 million domestic market we're looking at here. Colorado stands to be the only producer, only state producing hemp before too long. It's worth noting that Congress is actually, there's an amendment to the Farm Bill, which passes every single year. The Farm Bill passes through Congress. It's one of the few things that you can count on. And there's an amendment to allow for states to produce hemp. So, we've been trying to get folks to call their senators to get on board with this. It's worth thinking about you or your patients reaching out to Congress at this moment because we may actually see some good positive movement on hemp really for the first time in decades. So again, this hemp bill really will allow farmers to register with the Department of Agriculture by March of next year. There's a sort of work group that's being set up between now and then. We will be involved in some of the discussions there and trying to craft this into an industry that works. What's this registry going to look like? And basically farmers will have to let the Department of Agriculture know where they're growing hemp, how much they're growing, what sort of strain it is. They need to make sure it's less than 0.03% THC, which is the definition of hemp, it's less than 0.03% THC. And then the Department of Agriculture will do sort of spot checks and so forth. There doesn't appear to be any limit on the amount of hemp that could be grown for commercial purposes, so that's very exciting. If you want to grow for research purposes, you can grow up to 10 acres. And if you want to grow hemp right now, today, you can do so via this phytoremediation law, which passed in Colorado a couple years ago. There's a process to grow hemp just for phytoremediation purposes. Phytoremediation means it's sort of the cleaning the soil process that hemp engages in. So it's not for commercial purposes, it's just for this limited research purpose. But if you're interested in hemp, it might be worth applying for this phytoremediation portion now to kind of get up and rolling. Otherwise, you'll probably have to wait till March of next year to do that. And finally, I wanted to talk about some local issues. Our office is in touch with about a dozen local governments around the state, and we're really targeting some communities to try to get them to have Amendment 64 businesses. There's certain communities we feel really excellent about. That means, that doesn't mean that our work is not cut out for us. We still have to lobby and push, but places like Denver and Boulder, we think are really going to end up in the right place in Amendment 64. Pueblo County, as a reminder, our law firm is actually writing their regulations for Amendment 64, so they will be moving forward. Breckenridge, Telluride, Aspen, Crested Butte, some of these mountain communities we are engaged with, and we believe they're going to be moving in the right direction. Some areas that give us a little more pause, like Colorado Springs, Lakewood, Englewood, Larimer County, Aurora. If you are interested in any of those locations, or if you currently have spots in Colorado Springs, for instance, I think it's worth really trying to engage either with our law firm or perhaps with a lobbyist to figure out a plan to get them to move in the right direction. We're happy to talk with you, talk about where your shops are, what the timeline is for the vote there, and pursue some methods to get a vote in the right way. So definitely worth thinking about. Other kind of hot news, Ridgway, the town of Ridgway down in southwestern Colorado voted last week to allow Amendment 64 stores. So that's very positive. We also believe Nederland up near Boulder is going to be moving in the right direction. So later this week, or probably next week, we're going to be sending out a white paper on why communities should allow these stores. We'll be sharing those with pretty much every elected local official in the state, just to convince them that ultimately having these stores is a good thing to do. So these are some of the pieces of the puzzle to get them to move in the right direction. But again, if you are in one of these communities where they are wavering back and forth, the time to think about constructing a local plan to make that happen is now, and we're happy to work with you to do that. So that's about it, and I'll talk to everyone soon.